Well, hello there everybody. Today we're going to be drawing a quick, simple, easy picture of Wonder Woman. So get yourself some paper and a pencil and start off towards the top left-hand side of the page, drawing up a nice big circle, which is going to be the top of Wonder Woman's head. I'm making my circle go off the page a bit because I'm going to have Wonder Woman standing in close at an angle to mirror a picture that I've seen that was quite good of her. And going on the outside edge of the circle here, going to bring a line in and down, relatively square actually, right down to around about here, which is going to be, if we take the radius of this circle, this halfway point, it's going to be a further distance down here. And then with the circle itself, just map down the outside edge to around about here. This is going to be the outside of the jaw, and then we just bring a line up and around to connect that together. So this, if you imagine, is the center line to Wonder Woman's face. That's where we're going to have the features. So with that in mind, there might be an ear at this point where everything meets up, but it's going to be hidden by hair, so we're not going to worry about that. What I'm going to ask you to do is get a line to come across where this point meets into the circle here, as it comes in, and come across at an angle like so. That's going to be the brow line for Wonder Woman. Now, she is, in a lot of the comic book lore, an Amazonian or a daughter of Zeus, I think, in some of the versions. So she's going to be a very strong female character, the archetype for a female superhero. Bring a line straight down here for the neck, and then we're going to have the body up and close and at a bit of an angle as well. So much like this brow line being at this angle, in a very similar way, we're going to bring a shoulder line that comes right up across here like this. And then that's going to help us map out the body area. We're going to just create this big kind of curved area that's going to be the body. Just draw yourself a massive ellipse in. And now we're going to shape on top of this. So on this end of the shoulder line, I'm going to just draw in a circle for a shoulder. And at this end of the shoulder line, that's much closer to the camera, right in the middle, I'm going to draw a nice big circle around about here for another shoulder as well. Now, if we go from the top point of this circle, we're going to be able to create a line that goes down into a point around about here and comes off there. And this again is our center line going all the way down through the middle. Now that we've got that in place, I'm going to again start off at this top point here where the shoulder line was in. I'm actually going to come straight out, and then I'm going to curve around. So a fairly straight line here, and then a curve that comes in here. And that's going to be part of the outside edge of the first breast on this side. And then on this side here, I'm going to follow down this shoulder circle line. And again, following this kind of angle, I'm going to create another curve that comes down and round like so. In fact, I'm going to let it come all the way around and up as well. Why not? So around about here where we've got the center line, and again, just map that as well. So this kind of lets me know where the chest plate's going to be in Wonder Woman's kind of armor brassiere type thing that she wears. So if I follow this line off down here, straight from the center of the shoulder, I'm going to just draw another circle there that's going to be the elbow joint and come straight away. So this can be the arm. We'll kind of bring it up here and we'll have it go from back there. We'll give it a bit more form and definition in the moment. And then this line I think works quite well for the back end. So let's go back up here and worry about Wonder Woman's features. Just going to check that it's all in focus. Lovely, it is. Now, if we go and start with this brow line, we're going to work below there, and we're going to just start mapping out where the facial features, oh dear, I'm losing my words, will be. Go just below the brow line at the part where this just dents in the most. And this is where we're going to map the eyes. They're going to be around the middle zone of this space and further in the left-hand side, right tucked in here because it's foreshortened. And I'm going to use that as an opportunity to pop in a fairly smooth, fairly oval eye shape for the character. just so it's got a feminine look. Instead of using lots of strong, sharp angles, just going to draw a curve here, and then I think a very similar kind of curve out on this side, like so. Excellent. And then above it, we're going to have an eyebrow line that comes off here, and also an eyebrow line that comes off round about here. Now I'm going to go straight back in, and I'm going to thicken up that eyebrow and make it stronger for Wonder Woman. She's not messing around. And then same down here, thicken that up, have it come off and away. Maybe a line or two as well to kind of show the intensity. The hood of the eye is going to be just above here and just above there. Much lower on comic book characters than it is on anime characters. And then if I imagine that this face is being viewed from slightly a low angle, means that I'm going to push that line up as to where I'm going to have the nose. So I'm going to use this meeting point of the circle and the center line. I'm going to drop it down a little bit further so that it matches the bottom edge of the circle. I'm going to make this a bit of a mouth zone, and I'm going to fit the nose in between. So if I imagine a nose line that cuts straight in from the outside edge of the eye, like this, meets up to the edge of this circle as it comes round, and then just hooks back in. That's going to be our nose viewed from the underside. Now we can put a little ridge here to show the angle that we're seeing things from underneath. And we can follow that round a bit really to pop in a nostril on this part here, and also just come off under this line, underneath there, and show the other nostril on the other side, just a line there. Then we get to come to the outside edge of this part of the nose, like so, and we've just got that all mapped in quite nicely. When it comes to the mouth with Wonder Woman, a bit more sensual in this instance, so it's going to be fairly wide. I'm going to take the center of this eye line, follow it around the face, and this eye line as well. I know that the mouth is going to sit somewhere in this zone here. So if I start off with that line that I've got there, let's have a fairly simple, slightly open mouth expression. So a line here no wider than the nose itself, and then I'm just going to pull it back and down at each edge, and then fill in the middle. I'm leaving a little dimple here to show the thickness of the bottom lip, and then I'm going to map around it really generously. I'm going to put that bottom lip in all the way around here. Why not? And then we're going to put the top lip in as well, all the way up here. Nice and thick up there, and disappearing off down like so. Excellent. Now, if we just pop a further line that comes back there, and then there'll be a bit of shadow under here. But overall, we're now just going to curve in the face a little bit. So where we've got the brow coming in here, right down to the inside edge of the eye, obviously it comes out a little bit more gently than I've got this line. So I'm just going to bring that to smooth in, and then comes in nicely for the side of the cheek area, but doesn't tuck all the way in because she's got a fairly strong jaw, this character. It comes obviously down to here, and then makes its way back up. For the eyes, we're going to make the outside edges, or bring in the outside edges, I should say, to be a little bit darker to show kind of the eye line and the eyebrows area. Always good to darken around the area of the eyes on the outside top edges of a female character. We're going to do the same on this side. Flick off a couple bits to be eyelashes, and then that allows me to put in some eyes. So we're going to have the character looking just above and behind us, up over to the right like this, and up over like this. We'll put in our standard circle of reflected light, 1, 2, and then a small pupil in the middle as well. Excellent. Now, following the center line of the face as it goes up, we've got this kind of headband tiara type thing. Now this can be fairly easily mapped in. We're just going to follow along the forehead line from here to about here, and then we're just going to put a really loose kind of diamondish shape onto this, by which I mean we're going to start above this line and curve down to this point here, and then from this point here we're going to curve up and away around this line like so. And then on this edge here, I'm just going to show that it's got some thickness. And then on that edge, it's just going to focus away. And the same's going to happen on this side, kind of up and kind of down. It's kind of disappearing off the page here. It gets the idea across. And right in the middle, in this zone here, is going to be a star. Now I'm drawing in really lightly a circle, firstly, just so I can get the overall shape that the star would map correct. And then from the center of the circle, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 segments like that. Normally, I would just draw a star on, but this is just large enough that we need to be a little bit careful. So now that it's got the segments, I'm just going to take this edge, bring it down to here. This edge is going to go to there. This edge goes over to here. And we keep following this pattern round to the opposite to edges till we end up with a shape that we can outline like that. I hope that makes sense. Obviously, we're going as quick as we can to get this tutorial underway. So there's our star shape. Now, Wonder Woman, she has some excellent assets, such as a shield and some rope. We'll leave them off the page for the moment. Our other winners are this weird eagle chest piece. So we're going to map an eagle onto this zone here. A really simplified eagle shape, by the way, so don't worry too much. Firstly, I'm going to just about halfway between this line and this bottom edge on this zone here, I'm going to start to map in that there's all sorts going on. So if I start off with a kind of point here, this is going to be the kind of bottom edge of part of that eagle pattern that she has. And this point is going to come all the way up like this. All the way up like that. It's just going to map its way on to around about there, and then around about this bit here, this is where the eagle kind of points off. So I'm going to halfway here and here connect these lines up like that and like that, so it makes a nice strong arrow shape, and then just the beak goes off to the side like that. Then we can kind of just fill this up with further lines that curve round. So here I'm going to have a line that curves off there around the breast, and then on this side as well, it's going to be a line that curves up and around, follows this kind of arc, and then in fact just goes off round the back like so, and just comes right down and around. Now that we've got that shape in, we can mirror it again, further up this time, up here, around, kind of pops in, and follows the frame around down there. There's a similar thing around this side here. Excellent. Now, on this side of the eagle, we're going to further down here just draw in a bottom edge that gets mapped like that, kind of follows all this curve, if anything, which is great. And then from here, just going to come out on either side, and we're going to fit in a space which will be lots of tail feathers. So again, just mapping a shape down like that. And we're just going to split it off for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to build some shapes into this as well. So each of these feathers has a point of its own, like this. Just get that in, like that, and like that. Just so we've got this kind of defined shape. And then we're just going to create an outline, each of these zones here. And with this eagle shape, we're going to map it up and go halfway up these lines here. So we're going to follow an outside edge that I'm making here, just drawing it into it's got some thickness. And then it's going halfway up here, and then becoming its own layer as well. Let's get that on there, get that round there. Now that we've got the main kind of annoying shapes out the way, the rest we can just fill in and just pop some hair on. So I'm going to just get the edges drawn in on this eagle shape that's the centerpiece. It also comes down around about here in the front section as well, and kind of breaks off again into its own part. But you get the whole winged idea now. And that allows us on the corset just to focus on a lot of lines that are going to be working their way in towards the center. So again, this center line is coming down off here. And I'm just going to draw some lines that curve down and in. Down and in again. Down, round and in again. Round and in. Every time the line is on the main body, it's straight. Every time it's over a breast, it's curved, just to show the shape and form, like so. And again, so. Then round the edge here. Another standard straight line. And we've got lines that just come up here to crack on with the whole bodice. Excellent. So we've got a bodice, we've got a face, we've got this shoulder, which I'm just going to firstly start up here and bring this down as a collarbone line. So we've got something to work with. This neckline here, I'm going to make sure that we've got an outside bit of neck muscle tendon and then inside bit here. I'm going to continue on down this side and just make sure that there is a shoulder there or otherwise showing just about there. And then on this side here, I'm going to just follow this breast line up a bit there, just to show that it's pushing up a bit. And then that allows me to turn this shoulder circle into a bit of a point to show where the muscle follows all the way down and around. Going to drop that shoulder down just a touch. And then here we've got a bit of a bump for where the bicep is, a bit of a bump there that comes in for where the tricep is, and it all leads out the forearm, like so. Excellent. So we've got the basic shapes in, and now we're just going to drop on lots of hair. So it all comes from the top and it flows out, and it flows out quite far. So I'm going to just draw on some lines that are really going to zone the hair out for me. It's going to come out around about here. There's going to be all sorts of offshoots around here. And then it's going to start to flow down and around. Now these lines are very hard to describe, but basically the thinking behind them is keep it natural, smooth and flowing. So I'm just putting in lots of curves all the way down. Wonder Woman has excellent hair, which she doesn't tie back for some reason, even though it would make a lot of sense to do so in her profession. And we're just going to throw in a few curves and a few curls that go off in the other direction, like so, all the way up, just to show the hair's everywhere in the wind. And on this side here, I'm going to make sure it comes in so that it definitely covers the ear. It's all around about here. And then it's going to tuck around the neck, but really go off behind the shoulder. So there might be a strand that comes down over here. But for the most part, the hair will be doing this. It's going to follow this kind of line, this kind of pattern coming back in this direction. Down and back, down and round and back. Then it kind of obviously just falls in and goes over to this side here. There'll be a few curls and bits of hair around about here. Again, just following those lines. Maybe a curl that comes up. And that's basically about it. We're going to map in a few mark areas here and here to show her strength, because she is incredibly strong with some weird heritage. But otherwise, we're going to black out the hair, drop in with these lines a few shapes now that follow the lines as well. So I've got a shape here, and I've got a shape here against this line, just going to thicken it out. And what I'm doing is I'm giving these lines volume. And the reason why is that these are going to be areas of light. I'm going to black out all of the hair and leave in lots of areas of light white colour that will allow us to just show the flow and the motion of the hair as well. So the black will be the main colour, but you'll still see the direction that everything's moving in. Again, I'm going to thicken that line out, thicken out that line, put another one in there, all following the same flow. Thicken out some of these, and a little bit there as well, and over here. Excellent. So now I'm going to drop some ink onto this in time-lapse, and I'll see you guys in just a sec. And there you have it. A nice, not so quick to be fair, simple picture of Wonder Woman. Right, what I'm going to do, guys, is just drop the bodice into red, the golden areas into gold, put a skin tone on her, and then I'll see you guys next time round. If you liked this, do click on subscribe, and if you didn't, get in the comments and let me know how to make things better for next time around. Peace and love, everybody. Take care. So hey, thanks for watching. Click subscribe and put your suggestions in the comments below. See you next time.